All right, guys, what's up? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And you know what? One of the things that I have been hearing quite a lot ever since pretty much the release of XDefiant, if not shortly after that, is that XDefiant is either too much like Call of Duty or that it shouldn't do too much of what Call of Duty is doing, right? We don't want to create a full on Call of Duty clone, so to speak. Now, first of all, I have to ask you guys right off the bat, do you think X Defiant being similar to Call of Duty is a good thing or a bad thing? I'm really curious to know in terms of what you guys think as far as that is concerned. But moving on with the subject here, with everything that's coming up with X Defiant, everything that the community or a percentage of the community has either been requesting or things that are coming, as we know, especially with the season one roadmap that's been released recently. It's all very similar, if not basically what we're going to be getting with Call of Duty. The thing is, though, I hope X Defiant kind of puts its own take on it. I don't I mean, even if it was tit for tat, some of these features are obviously not a bad thing. For instance, kill cams, originally a Call of Duty feature, again, coming to X Defiant, and hell, there's even games out there that have implemented it that didn't implement it before. I remember Halo even did that. Let's see what else. Combat record, again, something originally, if I'm not mistaken, originally implemented in Call of Duty. Let's see what else. Like even when you look at what's coming up in season 2 with the Highwayman faction, in terms of how that operates, in terms of its passive, it's basically like a different version of specialist to a certain degree, right, in terms of what you can get. But it is its own thing though, because you're not like taking abilities from other factions. You just your reload speed increases and your rate of fire increases, right? So it's kind of like specialist, but it's in its own way. Now, I personally think this is the direction that XDefiant needs to go into, where it's like, okay, it's similar to what COD did, but at the same time, it's different. That's personally what I think XDefiant needs to do moving forward. However, there are things that you simply can't change because, well, when you look at things like kill cams, how in the world are you going to change those, right? I mean, kill cam is a kill cam, and how are you going to change that? But it is a feature that is absolutely something that a lot of players can definitely take advantage of in this game. And on top of that, even when you look at more modern times, right? Like when you look at, and this, when we talked about this briefly on stream last night, shout out to Streamtown, by the way. Appreciate your guys' support. It was a hell of a good time. 5 hours, 5.5 hours of amazing streaming and talking to you guys and back and forth. Uh, Even when you look at more modern times, like for instance, when Fortnite started to become very successful, everybody started copying Fortnite, and it got to the point to where it pissed a lot of people off. You know what I mean? A lot of people ended up getting really, really angry. A lot of people to this day still believe that like Fortnite just killed other games, because of the way they do their microtransaction system, because they're a free to play service and all that kind of stuff. Now, granted, not everybody's going to agree with that. Some people will say that it actually enhanced the gaming space, but it really depends on how you look at it, right? As well as what you particularly appreciate as a player, right? As a person who's gaming, there are some things that people like, and there are other things that people simply don't like. It really depends on perspective. So what I'm getting at here with this particular video and this particular topic of the day is that, what is your perspective of X Defiant, right? Like the way I view X Defiant is, yes, there are going to be a lot of features that are in the game that are similar to COD, but with their own take on it. But at the same time, there's going to be a few things that are going to be tit for tat. And the thing that I think X Defiant um, uh, can make it the most unique is, as crazy as this sounds, it's true, is that we've got all these different IPs within Ubisoft that a lot of you guys are even more familiar with than I am, that can literally be put all into one game, to where the game literally does become like the Super Smash Brothers, so to speak, right? Of X Defiant. For those of you guys that aren't familiar with Super Smash Brothers, you've got all these different characters from all these different franchises that are put into one fighting game, and it's been like there've been more and more characters within all the sequels and stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? So it's not just within the different a limited IP. It's like you've had all sorts of different characters put into that game, which is pretty freaking cool. But it would be something similar to that, but it's only limited within Ubisoft's IP, because if Ubisoft were to get characters from other franchises that are not within their IP into their not within their franchises into their game, they're obviously gonna have to pay a pretty buck for it. So I mean, Smash Brothers managed to do it, but I mean, granted, maybe Ubisoft could do it as well. But you know, but the thing is, like with a game like Fortnite can toss anything into their game because I mean, those guys have a lot of money. They've got money up the wazoo. You know, because they were what they've done with their formula has been tremendously successful from a financial standpoint, and ever since then, everybody's been chasing it. Like even Call of Duty has been chasing it. You know what I mean? They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to accomplish more and more and more as far as what's coming in, so to speak, right? So that's how it's been, especially ever since Modern Warfare 2019. They've been following that formula, and to this day, they're still getting financially successful for it. It is what it is. So, in your opinion, do you guys think that that XDefiant needs to? Obviously, we still haven't even hit season 2 yet, as of the time of this recording, but we will in a couple of days. And then beyond that, you know, I think season 3 is going to be the biggest, like one of the big impacts of the game, because not only because it's going to be the third season, but also because of what is coming in the third season that over months now, many months, a lot of players have been requesting, right? So, and of course, the you know, for those people that still believe that the game may not last beyond season 3, it is their quote unquote final chance in order to get things straight with the community and before, you know, the Ubisoft execs decide whether or not to continue to support the game financially. So because the word is that I guess and again the word is that the just getting on the game and playing it and not spending a single dollar on anything is something that's actually costing Ubisoft money, as opposed to, you know, them either breaking even or even making a little bit of money because, hey, they've got players playing their game. And that's actually how I thought it was. I thought that if there were enough players playing the game, at least they would be able to at least break even or even make a little bit of money. But at the same time, when it comes to a free-to-play game and then you got all these servers up, and from what I hear, servers are definitely not cheap, especially if they're like a higher quality server, right? The better quality of the server you got, the more expensive it is. I mean, there's a reason why there's not a lot of games that are operating at 120-bit tick rate servers or whatnot, right? I know Valorant does. From what I've heard, Valorant operates on that. So, but at the same time, not every game is doing that, you know? But anyway, so yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that because for the longest time, that's what I've been hearing. So what direction do you guys think XDefiant needs to go in? Do you guys think XDefiant just needs to keep doing what it's doing as it's doing it currently? Do you think XDefiant needs to eventually change things up? Because again, I'm asking you this because we already know what's coming pretty much for the majority of the rest of the seasons, right? For this first year. So do you guys think that XDefiant needs to simply stick to its guns? Or do you guys think that there needs to be some sort of shift in terms of how they're handling things, right? And I know there are things that actually do need a shift, like the store, for instance. There's no doubt about that, because we already discussed this at the stream, but that's in a whole other video for another day. And that's actually what I was actually going to talk about today, but I decided to postpone it because it's a little bit more in depth, and I want to do a little bit more thinking about that in terms of what I want to say, and as well as cough up some ideas. But again, there are things that XDefiant needs to do differently than what it's doing currently. One of the biggest things that I'm thinking right now is they need to put their game on Steam. And perhaps that is another video for another day as well. So with that being said, guys, let me know down in the comment section what you are thinking, as always. And thank you for taking the time to watch and or listen. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.